Every single speedrun you have ever seen probably has one thing in common: trying to go as fast as possible. But on my channel, I do things a little differently, because after beating Super Mario Bros. Wii without running, I decided it was time for another challenge. This time, I would beat an entire level in Mario 64 while crawling, which means that I can't jump, dive, or even walk, and all I can do is crawl. But first, I have to find a level I can beat. So I booted up the game and started looking for a level. First, I went to Bob-omb Battlefield, but I couldn't get up these slopes, so I moved on without really thinking about it. Onto Whomp's Fortress, where I couldn't get past these things, so I went to Cool Cool Mountain, and this time, it felt different. Because in Cool Cool Mountain, you start at the top, which means that you can crawl to the edge to fall off. So I just had to figure out which star to get. And after a while of struggling, I decided to try to get the red coin star. Oh yeah, and this is technically before the challenge, so if you see me running and jumping, it's just so I can find the route faster. So I scouted out the area and found that every single coin was possible, except for one. You see, the red coin on this tree is only possible to grab if Mario grabs the tree, but the only way to grab the tree is to press A, which counts as a jump. So I decided it was not possible, and I moved on. And I kept looking through levels and found nothing. In fact, I looked through every single world in the game, and I found nothing. So, in desperation, I went back to the very first world, and I searched everywhere for something that would help, but I couldn't find anything. Until, with a stroke of luck, I found something that I never even knew before. If you go into this flower patch, it will teleport you to another flower patch on the other side of the map. Just what I needed to do my challenge. So now, I decided to start a real run. This time, I would attempt to get the 100 coin star. And with a new level of confidence, I began to crawl. And it was incredibly slow. That's when I realized just how long this was gonna take. But I made it to the flower patch and started collecting coins. After a very long time and a few deaths, I got to the top of the mountain, where I was able to use this cannon to shoot up to the island in the sky. And this is the place where I can get a lot of coins with the cannon on the island. But I don't have the best aim, so I didn't get too many coins on the first go. That meant that I would have to go all the way back to the top of the island. But this time, I utilized a new strategy. I would use this cannon to launch myself here, where I would launch to the top of the mountain, and then crawl all the way to this cannon to get to the island, where I would finally use this cannon to gather coins. But this whole process was still taking a very long time. And I was starting to think that this star is not possible. I thought that I would just have to give up here and do something else. But just then, I got a message. It was from a viewer who was helping me find a route to get to the star. There's a star that's trapped inside of this block on the floating island. But the only way to open the block is to jump into it, or so I thought. It turns out that from the cobblestone cannon, you can launch into the block and open it. But you can't get into the cobblestone cannon by crawling, so you have to take this cannon. So, using their help, I attempted to get inside the cannon. But after a few tries, I decided it would be best to do this again later. So, a few days later, I began to speedrun it for real. This is where the challenge actually begins. I started my timer when I entered the level, and began to crawl. I got to this cannon, and then shot over to the next one, where I crawled inside, and shot to the mountain. After crawling for a very long time, I made it to the next cannon and took aim. But I missed. So I restarted again, and eventually I made it back to the cannon, where it took quite a long time to line up my shot, until I got it. But on the next cannon, I missed again. So I reset, and I kept on trying and failing over and over, until finally, this happened. And from there, I was able to shoot to collect the star, finishing the run with a time of 5 minutes. But I wasn't done there. I wanted to truly speedrun it and get the best time possible. I knew a lot of time could be saved on setting up the cannons, and after a few failed runs, I got onto one that seemed promising. I was able to get into the cannon at about 2 minutes, where I got a perfect shot into the next one. And I actually managed to hit the block. From there, it was just another simple shot, where I finished the run with a time of 3 minutes and 51 seconds. I had just saved over a minute of time, but I knew the run still had flaws. I could still save time by lining up the cannons faster. So I kept on going, and on my very next run, using faster cannon setups, I got another record. 2 minutes and 58 seconds. At this point, I knew I was getting close to the fastest I could do, but I decided that I still wanted to go for one more record. I went through so many runs, and I wasn't getting close. I kept failing over and over, and started to wonder if I should just give up. But then, something great happened. On the very first cannon, I landed this shot. Perfect. This saved a lot of time. And when I got into the next cannon, I quickly got into the cobble cannon and shot into the block. Now I just had to shoot into the star. So, with another perfect shot, I finished the run with a time of 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Thank you for watching. See you later.